Like all of you being honored today, my life is dedicated to holding a space within which people can step deeper into their power, bodies, voice, and intuition. From well before I knew what a doula was, and years before I even knew anyone that was pregnant, I knew our system was broken. Like so many young women we all know, I was put on the pill to manage or mismanage my dysfunctional periods. And most of what I heard from doctors sounded like a lot of BS to me, even as a teenager who got her news from 17 and Cosmo. I knew I wanted to be part of changing the system and the experiences women had in receiving health care and making reproductive choices. I also knew that the change would only come from outspoken, empowered, educated, creative, and passionate women, and dreamed that someday I would be one of them. It took many years of studying feminism, photography, and the media, yoga and body work, along with a lot of frustrating experiences of working for the man, for me to find this path that has been the focus of my life for the past 2 decades. Within the realm of our work as doulas, midwives, educators, mentors, consultants, medical providers, therapists, chiropractors, and acupuncturists, we help women and all the people we work with to remember that they are powerful, wise, and competent enough to make their own decisions. We live in a culture that infantilizes, patronizes, and starves women of the true care and vibrant health that all beings deserve. Pushing a one-size-fits-all model of care onto a rainbow of unique bodies, beings, and circumstances doesn't serve anyone. We're conditioned to let other people make choices for us. We're taught to trust experts, technology, research, protocols, more than our primal instincts and natural rhythms. And not only do so many women and their treatable health issues fall through the cracks, but way too many of us are traumatized, belittled, confused, and shamed in the process. As those that work with pregnant, birthing, and postpartum families, we fill a gaping hole in the maternity and pediatric care systems. We bring love, patience, accessibility, empathy, and compassion to people that are unsatisfied with appointments that feel more like oil changes than support and wise counsel for the biggest initiations and most vulnerable moments of our lives. Women often know that the care they're getting is lacking, yet they're so used to it, and it's what's covered by their insurance, that they often complacently accept it. So just like a girlfriend encouraging a bestie to get out of that unsatisfying relationship, we're all here standing by saying, girl, you can do better than that. I'd like to tell you a story about a recent client of mine that illustrates the collaboration, magic, and miracle of what we provide for women. This first-time mother came referred to by her acupuncturist, someone that I share a lot of clients with, and our holistic dentist. She had a condition called vaginismus, which, if you don't know, is a condition that affects a woman's ability to engage in any type of vaginal penetration, including sexual intercourse, insertion of tampons, the penetration involved in Pap tests, and cervical exams in labor. This is the result of an involuntary vaginal muscle spasm, which makes any kind of vaginal penetration painful or even impossible. She deeply longed for a natural birth, but was afraid and unsure of how that would happen with her condition in mind. If she could barely get a finger into her vagina, how was she going to get a baby out? She was sure that she wanted to minimize vaginal exams in labor, and had heard that getting to the hospital as late as possible was one of the best things she could do to prevent any unnecessary exams. Thus, her search for a doula began. Talking to her for the first time, my heartstrings were pulled big time. I too used to suffer from a similar condition of overly tight pelvic floor muscles, which, by the way, I'm convinced was as a result of years of yeast overgrowth caused and mismanaged by my doctors. Over the course of many years of self-study, kind, compassionate, and skilled professional support, none of which was covered by insurance, by the way, Along with yogic exploration, I was able to heal myself. Through my own healing process, working with women that have pelvic floor issues has become a passion and specialty of mine. And one of my favorite applications of my years of study and practice in women's health, yoga, relaxation, hypnosis, and mindfulness. Though they didn't know my personal story, the acupuncturist and dentist both knew that we'd be a good match because of how we were connected through our village of like-minded practitioners who had shared so many clients over the years. So she hired my doula partner and me to work with her and her partner in preparation for the birth and for support on the big day itself. She welcomed our apprentice onto her birth team to add even more positive energy into the birthing room. She continued to work with her pelvic floor PT, did sessions with a hypnotherapist, took a birthing from within class, as well as the hypnobirthing class that I refer all of my clients to. She committed to weekly yoga sessions with me, as well as practicing at home on a regular basis. She also practiced her hypnobirthing affirmations, breathing, and relaxation daily. She chose to go to Kaiser in Redwood City in order to work with midwives, whom she knew would be more likely to support her birthing in the way that she had envisioned. With our encouragement, she unwound from work around 36 weeks to take time to relax and go deeper into her positive birthing headspace. She wasn't letting any one person make all the decisions for her. She was looking to us to help her do what felt impossible. Her inner wisdom, along with her commitment to doing the very best for her baby, drove her to doing the work. It wasn't us that made the birth happen the way that it did. It was her questions, her hopes and dreams, her commitment, her persistence, her practice. We just guided her in each other's directions and assured her she could do it, and she did. Around 38 to 39 weeks, she went into labor in the middle of the night, spending the first couple of hours in the dark with her partner, who had also devoted himself to preparing for the birth. They called me when labor had only been going on for a couple of hours, and once I arrived at their home, we soon departed for the hospital, as she was feeling the hopeful, telltale sign of the end of labor, rectal pressure. I folded down the back seat of my car so she could be on all fours as the powerful surges swept through her husband supporting her bottom to help her feel secure that the baby wasn't going to come out in the car. Her head close to mine, I breathed with her all the way down the 101 as the sun rose over the bay. We arrived at the hospital, and she couldn't really walk or sit, so she kneeled backwards on the wheelchair, hanging her primal birthing body over the backrest. Some of you have probably done this before, I'm guessing. The nurses at the front desk didn't believe she was really that active, so we were directed to triage for the first exam. Much to their surprise, yet right on track with the hundreds of hypnobirthing moms we have worked with, she was completely dilated and ready to push. She pushed gently yet powerfully. My apprentice applied warm compresses to her bottom, while I offered affirmations and breathing guidance and photographed this magnificent unfolding. Her husband caressed her face, held her hand, and never took his eyes off of her. He was in the Laborland trance too. The Kaiser midwife patiently, quietly, and respectfully supported her in a slow and mindful birth of her baby's head. The mother was absolutely ecstatic. It was a 6-hour labor. A beautiful, just got chills. I get chills every time I tell this story. A beautiful, fast, completely natural, and undisturbed hypnobirth in the hospital. This mother was so unique and calm in her presence that the nurse stated her awe with her mastery of birthing. Once the happy family of 3 had settled into their postpartum room, the nurse brought in a pregnant coworker to meet my client and learn what her secret was to such a calm and natural birth. This pregnant nurse was so scared to give birth. After all the dramatic screaming and medically managed births that she had seen, she wanted to figure out a different way for her own birth. My client proudly told her about all that she had done to prepare for the birth and encouraged her to do exactly the same thing. Not long after that, the pregnant nurse showed up in my yoga class, bringing along yet another pregnant coworker. The birth was not only natural, normal, safe, and healthy, but it was an incredibly healing and satisfying, affirming rite of passage for the mother, and a true inspiration for all who were present. She told me that going through the experience of natural birth helped her to know that she was stronger than she ever believed herself to be. Her whole self-image had been transformed. She now believed that she could do anything that she set her mind to. What a way to begin the journey of parenting and go through life. No one in the conventional medical system really helped her. It was the people like all of us here that made the difference. But we didn't deliver her baby. We didn't make it happen. She did, and she knows it. Sure, she is eternally grateful for all of our support and collaboration, but she knows that this would not have happened had she not fully shown up for the entire journey. This is one of those experiences that reminds me of why we do what we do. Not only do I feel that what I'm doing with my life matters, I know that each of us in this room is making an essential contribution to the world. And that working in community with other like-minded providers is what truly contributes to the thriving and affirming experiences of the families that we work with. Yet I also see how there's still so much work to be done. The system is still broken. We have to keep speaking up. We have to challenge their protocols and their policies. We have to write letters and give feedback. We have to protest and show up when legislation is being made. We have to vote our advocates into office and undermine the directives that work to erode our options and autonomy. We have to get issues surrounding pregnancy, birth, and postpartum to the top of political agendas. This time will go down in history as a time where women rose up, a time where we came together to defeat misogyny, ignorance, and oppression, a time where we took a stand for our children, our communities, and our bodily autonomy. We are teaching young women to speak up for themselves. We are teaching our children to ask hard questions. We are teaching them to step more fully into their power. We are teaching them to stop violence. We are teaching them how to heal. And we are only able to do all of this by truly taking care of ourselves and each other. A revolution like this cannot happen from depleted warriors. It is through the nourishment and support of our tribe that we find our true strength. We don't just refer to each other, we listen to each other. We talk each other through long births or process together afterwards. We back each other up. We rub each other's shoulders, teach each other yoga, and give each other treatments. We show up even when we have something more glamorous and fun to do. We educate each other. We update each other of changing protocols and policies. We bring each other food when someone gets sick or has her own baby. And we give the best hugs. This is how we thrive and how our families, clients, and communities thrive. We are role models for the people we work with and for each other. And we believe that the way babies are born matters to the child and their parents. We know the way those babies are cared for sends them a powerful message about life, love, and connection. My mom had a natural birth with me in the 70s. She took a Lamaze class. She chose a doctor supportive of her vision, and she believed she could do it. Every time I tell her one of my birth stories, and on every single one of my birthdays, since I can remember, she has told me the story of my birth with so much pride. Through her telling of our story over the years, I've come to believe that it was a pivotal moment in her life that instilled a confidence so deep that she carried it through all these 40-something years, and it got into me. Not only did it inspire me to do what I do today, but it inspired me to believe that I could do anything I set my mind to. And I'm pretty sure that's a gift every mother would like to pass on to her child. So I'd like you to just take a moment to close your eyes, if you're willing. or at least lower your gaze. And tune into your body, taking a few slow, deep breaths. And see if you can tune into the beating of your own heart. Feeling into the energy within you that inspires the work that you do. The generosity of your heart, the fierceness of your spirit, the strength of your body. See yourself fully encircled by your gifts. And now envision your imprint upon any or all of the following that applies to you. Every baby that you have caught, every mother you have talked through a difficult moment that she couldn't handle, every hungry baby you have helped to feed, every pelvis you have adjusted so a baby's birth would be easier, every postpartum meal you have prepared, every labor you've helped to naturally induce, every family you helped to get even a little more sleep, every rhythm and boundary you have helped to establish, every long night you have helped a family through, every bit of pain you have helped to reduce or endure, every mother you have inspired to believe in herself, every partner you have assisted in engaging more deeply, every breech baby you have encouraged to turn, every family you have educated about their options, reminding them they have choices and a voice to express them, every postpartum woman you have helped to heal her tender body, every person that you have taught to breathe and relax, every worried mama whose heart you have tended, every baby you have cared for in a conscious and loving way. Now imagine the effect you have had on each of these people you have contacted through your own work and the ripple effect it has had on their families, all those they encountered, all of the children, and even the children of those children. Now imagine the overlapping ripples floating out of all of the other women honored today in this room. The acupuncturist, the doctors, the chiropractor, the doulas, the lactation consultant, the sleep consultant, the educators, the midwives, the yoga teacher, the physical therapist. Imagine the waves of positive energy, of loving support, rippling out in all directions to reach the bodies, hearts, and minds of all women and all beings everywhere. What we do matters. What we do is changing the world. When you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes and take a moment to look around this room, to take in the beauty of this tribe, your village of wise, powerful, and inspirational women. Thank you all for your contribution. Thank you all for giving your heart and soul. Thank you, Shannon, and your team at Pomegranate for creating a home base for this village, for providing the vital resource of yoga, loving presence, and community for the growing families of Marin County. Thank you.